Mr. Mulyadi Jeo.
Good morning. Good morning. Really, thank you for all of you to be here. I know it's Jakarta traffic is really bad, and I know some of you really comes really early. I really appreciate you be here. Without further ado, I'm just gonna introduce myself. So my name is Mulyadi. I'm from iCube. We are an e-commerce agency here. It's been I really wanted to have this kind of event for a long time, and thank you for Audie and Ryan to make this happen. You guys flying over from US to here, it's just really great to have you all here, and all the speakers too from Singapore, and we really appreciate your time. So yeah, I've been in 12 years in e-commerce, and then I'm a gadget geeks, for you that didn't know. And I actually, at one point of my life, we convert that gadget. I love mobile phones, small laptops, stuff like that. And we actually convert that passion into an e-commerce business for a while, running for a year. And then I become the consultant because we just love doing the e-commerce. It's been an honor while I'm back in US to be able to work with some of the retail clients that's like Foot Locker, Tom's Shoes. It's great to work with them. Oprah Winfrey with their Oprah store. It's just great. I was invited to Chicago for their show a couple of times. It's just kind of great. And here in Indonesia also, it's been a really pleasure to work with some of great clients like Pasaraya, Bobo Bobo, Shop Deka, and some of you are here. Barry Benka, Bilna, VIP Plaza. And this is me, my family. I have 2 kids, 1 wife, not the other way around. And actually, there's going to be another one coming in 6 months. So, and that's my team. They're all based in Jogja. We are about 25 right now. All right, let's just get started. So today I want to talk about customers, because I think at the heart of our business, when we want to do retail, we want to sell something, we want to become the retailer, seller. I mean, our really focus is really our customers, because without them, there's no business. Without them buying our stuff, there's really nothing. And it used to be in the past, I mean, as you see my white hair, I'm quite old. So in the past, it's quite simple. It's actually a straight journey. I mean, I kind of illustrate something like this. So you have house, people from the home. I need something, I go to the shop, I go back home. Or if I work, I just go to work, maybe go to the shop and go back home. So it's just very straight linear. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Now, unfortunately, it's not that easy. So you can see here the same customer now. Start with all this circle of, well, I don't know what you want to call it, circle of evil, circle of friends from the social network, the chatting. I mean, not only friends from the same neighbor, now you got talking overseas, there's no boundary. I mean, there's a whole new surrounding, and obviously some old stuff still there. I mean, we still go to work, we still have home, but then we travel a lot now. It's much easier to travel. Go to Singapore, pick up AirAsia tickets, you just fly. It's so cheap, an hour away. And you already start enjoying stuff that you don't have in Indonesia, you can start buying it. Even though now, probably most of the stuff in Singapore we have in Jakarta. But that's beside the point. And then obviously there's tool, like a mobile phone, TV, and all this stuff. And finally, the e-commerce, allowing people to ship stuff easily for free, even across the world. From UK, somebody go to ASOS and buy something for free and deliver. So it's just much more complicated. So let me just start with telling a story of my own experience. I mean, since maybe you know, I live in States for a long time, 16 years actually, too long maybe. So if talking about shopping online, it has been a kind of a habit. It's grew on me. But still, like when I'm here, this is a story. I have 2 sons, so one of it is 10 years old. As you know, if you have sons, and at around that age, they grow very fast, and that's the same thing with my son. And his feet is humongously big. So we're talking about, I mean, he is now the same size as my wife, which is, I think, 8, I believe that's the size, the shoe size. So finding a shoes for him is quite a chore. So he keep changing the size every like 4 or 5 months by now. So that's kind of like, I mean, the money part is also headache, but they actually have to buy every shoes every 4 months. So like anybody, we'll go to shop, we go to a mall in Jakarta, just go into the store and try to find the shoes. It's very simple, right? Seems simple, but this become quite a chore actually, and at the point we're actually frustrated. Because we go to the kids' shoe store. I don't have to say what store. I mean, you probably know what all the store here. He's obviously doesn't fit any of the size anymore on the kids' store. And then you go to the adult, he's still too small for most of the adult. I mean, obviously I don't try to get him the female shoes. That doesn't make sense. So it's become very hard. I mean, finding the right shoes, like we have the size, we don't have the shoes. We have the shoes, we don't have the size. It's always that kind of game from store to store to store, and we're hopping across multiple stores. I mean, especially if the store look like this. Like all the shoes, all the boxes down there, and we have to try to find ourselves, and where the one in the bottom doesn't really match the shoes on the top. I mean, you know what I'm saying. So at the end, I go home, and we go to one of my clients' website, Sportdeck actually, and then we start to look around it, and then we choose obviously by shoe size. We find the brand that we like. We get all the selection and buy the shoes, check out, 3 to 4 days, it back home. Now, let's think for a moment. I mean, maybe you're gonna ask me, are you saying that this is the end of the offline because of that story? I mean, it's like online now is taking over the online. I mean, even sometimes I will say maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I would say never. I mean, it's not replacing. But the more proper question is this online shopping that I just going through is going to change the offline customer experience? Then the answer of that is absolutely. And this is what happened to me on that sense. Because it's not that, because if you look into my story carefully, I still have to go to the store to find the right shoes because my son's shoe size actually keep changing. I mean, it's not practical for me. Like, yeah, maybe I can buy like 4 or 5 shoes with different sizes from online and then try it out. And in the States, I probably do that right now. We buy just like 4 or 5 shoes and then choose only one and return the rest of the 4. In Indonesia, that's probably not so much. I mean, they're gonna hate me to do that. I mean, so it's a little bit different. I mean, so I still have to go to the store and I have to find the shoes. I have to let my son to try the shoes to see which one he liked, what kind of brand. Every brand have different feel and stuff like that. But it's just the experience there here offline is frustrating me that I bail out and at the end I have to buy online. So, I mean, I don't think any of this is going to fade away pretty soon. I mean, you can have Indomaret and stuff like that because some of it, the shopping experience is really part of the lifestyle. We want to meet with somebody in a mall, stuff like that. I don't think that's going to go away. We're not all of a sudden everything you're wearing like VR and then just in home and talking virtually. I don't think that's happened anytime soon. So the survey in US actually kind of agree on what my assessment here. I mean, I know this is US. US is much more mature in online, but this is what they found out is 44% they research online and they end up buy product online. But then 51% of them, they research online, they still go to store and buy. And then you have 17%, according to this survey, go to store and then purchase online. And then the 32%, which is much more advanced, they research online, go to the store, and go back and buy online. So this two, if you combine, is quite huge. It's actually 49% that going for multiple channel and at the end go back to the online and buy. But the summary that we want to say here is actually customer is actually smarter. So customer like you and I are smarter. We know what we want. We know our options. and we know the value that we want. And as a matter of fact, right now, we become accustomed to wait. So not everything has to come right now. So there's some justification between exchanging instant gratification and convenience. And then if you combine that with the internet access, which is in Indonesia, you all agree with me now with the 4G coverage and a much more affordable internet, it's become easy for anybody to get the information that they need. So now you have somebody, your customer, that actually know your brand and you know your product and know how they find their way to get that product better than any of us. And better, unfortunately, better than your sales associate as well. And we become more complex, and we also expect the store to know what we want. So what I try to say here with this example is it's not so much online become offline or offline become online. It's really blurring. There's really become mingled together. I mean, that's why the whole jargon come out saying omni-channel and stuff like that. So it's not even about jargon. It's really about our customer. It's our customer changing. And if your company has to be ready to face this customer, I mean, everybody different. Some will get impact sooner, some impact will be a little bit later, but it's going to take time for your company to actually able to transform, and it's actually the important thing is actually going to take a lot of disruption into your company. I'm going to come back with this disruption at the end with some sample, but these are the stuff that's going to change in your company, basically. Disruption in technology, disruption in operation flow in general, how you run the business day to day, disruption in human resources, disruption in mindset, which is kind of the most important one, and disruption in business silo. We'll go more detail on this one. So I'm going to another story now. I mean, this is probably more familiar in the United States. I don't know how much of you know Borders. One of the biggest one, actually. And then let me just get this all out. Okay, so they are 40 years old. Very old. And like any physical store, they open a lot of stores across the nation, big store, large store. But for the online, they decide to basically run it with Amazon at that time because they feel, it's okay, we're not ready yet. It's not important. So Amazon run the e-commerce business for 100% for 7 years until Borders realized at 2008, it's like, something wrong here. I didn't get any of the data from the Amazon. So they decide to launch its own website, and then on 2010, they tried to launch the Kobo reader to compete with Amazon Kindle. If you don't know Kindle, Kindle is the ebook reader for Amazon. And 2011, the story is they filed bankruptcy, and now it's a history. People talk about it, but they are no more. So if we listen to this story, I mean, the first intuitive, everybody's going to say, point finger to Amazon. They said, Amazon is the cannibal here. They fight pricing and stuff like that. They kill the business. Amazon is the bad guy. There's nothing to do that Border can do. But I don't think so. I mean, I think this is what really happened. So from 7 years, when they let Amazon run their business, what happened is Borders lost their touch with their customers, their core customers, which is people that buy book, buy music, buy video. At that era, I don't know, I mean, how much you know, but that's like Apple already started with iTunes. I mean, digital music is on the hype. Amazon obviously introducing ebook, and then it's everything's for digital download, video streaming, it start booming. So they lost, I mean, Borders lost that vision that the customer is already shifting from the old boat, from actually buying the CD, from buying the DVD. That's his old story already. They lost in touch with their customers. That's what really happened in that 7 years. On the top of that, I mean, the experience in Border bookstore is actually getting worse as well. People complaining about how The toilet's smelly, the coffee is not good, stuff like that. So that's basically, when they try to turn around, it's just too little too late. So what we see here, the pure play, pure play, when I say pure play, is people that really only selling their business online. They must have to do something right that able to compete with us that much. There's definitely something right, because if not, customer will not go there. So one of the survey from the shopper experience study here, the 4 things that the people said that on the online pure play have a tendency to do it right is on this 4 area, which is the product selection. Obviously, the online, there's no barrier of like how much stuff you can have. There's no physical barrier, at least, for the store. And the availability of the product information itself, the price, and the ease of checkout. So those are 4 key things that make people buy online. But I think on the top of that, I think this is much more important is the online pure play, they know their customer better. They have a lot of data about their customer, and they actually pay attention on that data, because they doesn't have the luxury of the physical store where you can actually meet the client, actually get to know the client and stuff like that. So they have to rely on the data that they get, virtually here, and analyzing their customers so that they can personalize the experience for their customers and do the relevant upsell and cross-sell to their customers. That's how they can be success as online pure play. Talking about relevant upsells, so this is just a side story because I feel it's kind of funny. So as you know, my wife is expecting. So we go to a pharmacy in a mall here in Jakarta. Guardian, actually, I will say that. So we're looking for a vitamin for the pregnancy, right? So obviously, folic acid is some of the mom know here, to be exact. And then we go to the aisle, try to find the medicine. At first, we asked the associates, do you have one? And they're having problem to allocate one, and we end up, we find it ourselves. And it's actually under food dietary instead of vitamin. So we grab it, and we ready to check out. We on the line. As we are standing on the line, the sales associate keep coming on my side, and my wife said, hey, come on, buy a vitamin for your eyes. Buy vitamin for your eyes. And it's like, keep bugging us along the line. Like, can you imagine, here my wife is pregnant, just pregnant. At least logically, if you're a sales associate, you know that. At the minimum, you upsell something that's relevant to what my wife needs instead of the vitamin of the eyes. Like, what? Because I think the problem here, the sales associate is chasing commission so much on the product. They're not really in tune with the customer here, what the customer really needs. That's the problem. So that's why online bidding on that one, because they using that data actually to do the upsell. But obviously, physical store have their strength too. Obviously, your brand. When I say brand here, it's not a specific product brand, but your own entity. Whatever it is, your company, your manufacturer, your product. There's something that differentiates yourself, obviously, with the competitor to begin with. If not, you're not going to be there for your customers. And then, obviously, your product. Some product, no matter how we want it, it still need to be touch, feel, and taste, especially food and stuff like that. So you still have that competitive that people actually have to try. Like in my case of the shoe, I still have to feel the shoe. And then your store, in here, obviously, one of the things, the immediacy. If I can't wait for the product, obviously going to the store is the way to go because I have to get it now. And the store is the way also you can direct engage with your customers, which is that the online shop doesn't have that opportunity. And you can also build some unique experience that only can be achieved when you have a physical store. So this, obviously the immediacy, this is the one that Amazon is trying to tackling right now in the States. They now have delivery the same day for all the grocery and stuff like that, which is, as you know now, all your advantage is kind of being eroded spade New York is very expensive, so to get a small space, they just rent a very small space and then get the online shopping right there on the window. But the thing that people probably don't pay attention is this guy. It's actually free 1 hour shipping right away, that's kind of the kick on it. So it's almost like a store. You get it within 1 hour when you buy it from here. So knowing that, now what's next? So we talked about that disruption. So I mean, this is where I think we should start thinking about, how we're going to handle those disruptions. In technology, obviously, it's quite simple. It's not quite simple. I mean, it's more straightforward. I mean, obviously, you want to choose the right platform, the right technology for you to grow with. And I think you have to, something new probably, invest in technology that's really open, because nowadays there's really one technology that's able to be the Superman that cover everything. So the openness of the technology itself is very important, so that integration is there. And then obviously, anything technology that helping you to go with your customers, know your customers better, that's a good technology. And finally, obviously, choose a partner that know important about being able to presence on all these different channels, rather than try to box you into creating another silo that is not connected to at all. Now we're talking about the operation flow. I mean, it's probably more harder to do. You have to start mapping what you have, knowing all your channels. Start thinking the fluidity of your stuff between channels, like if you have multiple stores, how the products move from one place to another place, stuff like that. Obviously, this requires a lot of good human resource and also technology around supply chain. And then human resources, that's another challenge in Indonesia, probably in general, finding a good resources, not only technology resources, everything. I mean, this is all new for most of us. Balancing between in-house talents, going outsource. New skill that we never think about, digital strategists, what is that? Data analysts, I mean, we never think about that before, maybe on some of our business. But social media experience, welcome to 20th century, where your customer not listening to you over TV, but only on Facebook. And empowering your sales associate, I think that's part of the human resources stuff. And I want to zoom in a little bit, because this is important, because your sales associate is your really the front runner for your company, that they are the one that engaging with the customers. So having them to know what to do, how to close the deal, having enough product information is better than any of your customers. Know the customer history, and try to eliminate any barrier between them and closing the sales. I think that's really need to happen in empowering your sales associate. I mean, that's why, like, you see in the Apple store, they have all the products, and then they have all the iPad in front of their products. I mean, there was something that they learned from the online. Rich product information is important, so they put that iPad there just to show the product info. I mean, you might say that's pretty wasteful, but that's really powerful, actually. And that same thing with my experience in Nordstrom in the United States. Like, when we buy stuff, the sales associate, when they don't have it in stock, they can right away jump into their computer and then find the store that actually have the product, and my wife can go there and just pick it up. New mindset and break the silo. I think this is the hardest one, because we've been in the retail industry for so long, and we live in this silo. Everybody live in this commission, and everybody live in this own island. But we forget, I mean, the mindset is actually have to go back to the customers. It's not about where they are. It's not so much about online or offline. So we need a new strategy now to basically to create this cohesive between all these different channels. I mean, including some of the stuff that's really hard to change, like pricing strategy, promotion strategy, even like compensation strategy, bonus strategy. Those are going to be impacted. And this is the hardest one, because I have an oldest client, Foot Locker, in US. Until when I left 5 years ago, that's still one of the biggest challenges for them to get omni-channel right. How they share between offline and online as far as the sharing the bonus. But that's why, I mean, you have to start, like I said, I'm not making this easy at all. I mean, this is something you have to start thinking and start doing it. If not, it's going to take a long time. It's not overnight that you can do it. So some of the immediate stuff like combined loyalty program, something like that, you can start small and buy offline delivery to home. Something simple like this. I'm just buggling that a lot of people doesn't do. They have online and they have offline. They have online shop, but they don't actually try to promote delivering something that they don't have on the store by just shipping it to my home. Like in my case on that shoes, that can easily be a sales just by the sales associate say, hey, I have it online. I can ship it to your home. But they don't. And obviously, lastly is the hardest one, which is the BOPIS. I mean, that's the term, buy online, pick up in store. This is one of the new trend. I mean, not really new. I mean, Best Buy has been doing this for a long time, actually. But it's one of the hardest one. I mean, it's one of the best because 65% people that actually go to the store to pick up, they're actually going to buy some more, which is kind of great for the store. And 30% at least, they're doing at least once. But this is the most difficult to do it right because it's technology involvement. It's the whole, I think this is probably the best reflection of how omni-channel works, basically, because it really incorporate everything that you have from technology, from mindset, from all the silos have to work together to make it happen. And until now, 60% people still say something always wrong with the buy online pickup in-store strategy. And I know some of you already said, oh yeah, Matahari Online already do that, the O2O strategy. I will say, yeah, partially. I mean, because they only just give us an alternative shipping destination that I can pick it up in store, but it's not real time because they don't know the inventory on the store. It's actually take 3 to 4 days, the same time that I have to have the product shipped to my home. So maybe for some people that's important to have that. But I mean, to me, BOPIS is when I buy it, I know I want to go to the store right now this afternoon. I can just pick it up because I know that the store have it. So, and final word, so what I'm going to close with this. Your customer doesn't really think about channel. So what they only care really is about your brands, about your products, and how do they get it on their times, at their place, and at their value price. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Mulyadi Jeo. Waduh, what a lovely presentation.